In this next video, I want to introduce you to the interface and what you have in front of you. You'll notice it's a pretty heavily tabbed interface, it's pretty dense if you look at it. Over on your left-hand side, you have your project window. This project window is where you're going to have all your footage files that you import and all your timelines that you're using for editing. There are different ways to view this. You can view it by your list view. You can view it by icon view. You can do find. You can also create new folders or even new items. So I'm going to go back to list. I'm going to click on new folder. And it's customary that you create a folder and you put your footage in it. So I'm going to call that footage, because that's where all my footage items should be when I'm done with my project. Now if you click on the new icon, you'll see there are a lot of different types of new items that you can create, like new sequences, offline files, titles, bars, and tone. Let's do new sequence, and you'll see that you come up with that same list that you had at the very beginning. And here's where you could choose a different setting, so if you wanted to now have a sequence that was in high def or something like that. Be aware once again that Adobe Premiere Pro CS4 does not have this. When you create a new sequence, it's in the exact same format as the project that you created, which means that you have to define what type of project from the beginning. You don't get this kind of flexibility, that's a really nice feature. Now we can also right-click and choose many of the same things here. So we can choose offline file title. Let's do a bars and tone and click OK. Right-click and choose new item, and we'll do a universal countdown leader as well. And hit OK. Now the reason that I wanted to make these is that these are two items that you see often in productions. They're used the beginning of the tape just to make sure that you set your audio and video levels correctly and then know when your program's going to start. But it gives us some content that we can see. Now when you click on the different content, you'll see that that information about the content appears in your project window. Now notice that we have the bars and tone. It tells us what the size of it is, the pixel aspect ratio, how long it is, and how many frames per second, and the audio settings. And same with the countdown leader. Now let's drag our bars and tone into our timeline, and you'll see that once we've dragged them into our timeline, they appear in the right hand, which is our program window. But I also want you to notice, if you go back to your project file, you might have to expand that a little bit, you'll now notice that when you select bars and tone, it shows us that this video has been used one time. So it kind of keeps track of how often you've used a video and where it's being used in your program. So that can be really important, because of course you don't want to delete something that is actually being used in a program. Which brings me to the fact that you can delete things just by pressing the delete key when you have one of those items selected. Now if you have a clip that is referenced inside one of your sequences, it'll come up with a warning such as this one here that says, do you want to continue? And of course you want to be aware that typically you probably won't want to delete things that are actually edited in your programs. If you do delete them, of course they'll be deleted from your program as well, and a hole will be left there. Now there are some other things that you can do with this. Of course, you'll see that once you've got more items in your bin, you can show those lists. You can also move your items into your footage folder. I think that's what I wanted to do now. Move those items into your footage folder. And here's one of the things that gets people. If you double click on your footage folder, sometimes it will open that stuff in a new window, sometimes it won't. But you want to look for this icon, which actually is a folder with an arrow pointing up, and that will take you back. And I've seen this happen many times. I'm just moving that. Actually, let me get rid of this, so that's not there. You just want to be aware of that. So anyway, I've got to stop the video so we can go on, but that will help hopefully in finding footage.